The people who change their thoughts change their lives. Welcome to Shift Your Mind, where every thought can be a new beginning. All right, listen up, because I need you to hear this loud and clear. All right, let's get real for a second. You know that feeling when you're constantly the one reaching out? You're the one sending the texts, making the calls, trying to get some sort of response, some sort of sign that they still care. And maybe at first, you convince yourself it's just a rough patch. They're just busy. They'll come around. But the truth, raw and uncomfortable, is this: when an avoidant person stops reaching out, when they stop making any effort to connect with you, it means something powerful. It means they're done. Not maybe done, not thinking about it, not I'll get back to you eventually. Done. Here's why this matters. Avoidants, they don't come halfway. They don't linger in the gray area of uncertainty just for the sake of it. When they care, you know it, because they'll show up in their way. It might not be the grand romantic gestures you want. It might be subtle, maybe even frustrating, but it's there. And when that stops, when that effort completely dries up, it's not a pause or a break. It's a sign. It's their way of telling you they're moving on. Even if they never say the words out loud, you might be sitting there thinking, but what if they're just overwhelmed? What if something's going on? What if I just give it more time? And that's the trap. Because time doesn't fix someone who's already checked out emotionally. Avoidants guard themselves fiercely. They protect their space like a fortress. If you've been chasing them, calling, texting, trying to reach them, and it's all met with silence, that silence is louder than any word they could say. Silence in this case is not peaceful. It's a boundary. And it's telling you, I'm done with this. Now listen, this doesn't mean avoidants don't have feelings or don't care. Far from it. It means they care so much about protecting themselves that when things get hard or uncomfortable, their instinct is to shut down and disappear. But here's the catch. If they cared enough to want you back, they'd make some kind of move, however small. Even a message that says, hey, I'm figuring stuff out, anything. But no effort, no reaching out at all. That's not just distance. That's a door closing. You might want to convince yourself it's not that bad, that they're just taking space or need time. But if you're the only one trying to bridge the gap, you're the only one fighting to keep that connection alive. It's not a partnership. It's not even a friendship at that point. It's a one-sided effort that drains you and chips away at your self-worth. And here's the harsh truth. You don't want someone in your life who leaves you hanging, waiting, hoping for a sign they're coming back. That kind of energy is toxic. It's exhausting. It's a slow form of heartbreak that eats away at your confidence. You deserve better than that. So when an avoidant stops reaching out, it's time to stop chasing. Stop putting your energy into someone who's emotionally checked out. Because here's the secret: when they want you back, you'll know. Not because they text you every hour or flood your inbox with messages, but because they make the choice to show up, to reconnect, to break the silence, even if it's scary for them. If they don't, it's not about you. It's about their own limits, their fears, their inability to stay present. And it's on you to protect your heart, respect your worth, and move on. Don't wait around for a ghost. Don't hold your breath hoping for a knock on the door that will never come. When the avoidant stops reaching out, that's your green light to say, I'm done waiting. I'm done hoping. I'm moving forward. Because the only person who should never ghost you is you yourself, from your own life and your own happiness. Now, are you ready to take that step? Because it's scary. It's uncomfortable. But it's the most powerful move you can make to reclaim your power and start living fully again. Let me tell you something that's brutally honest and might sting a little, but it's necessary. When someone with avoidant tendencies starts shutting down all communication, it's not just a phase or a test. It's not some weird power move or a game they're playing. It's a clear, unmistakable message that they're pulling away for good. Not tomorrow, not next week, not when they figure things out. Right now, in this moment, they're closing the door. And if you don't see it, if you don't feel the weight of that silence, you're setting yourself up for heartbreak on repeat. You know the drill. You're sitting there waiting for a text, a call, even a little sign, anything to let you know they're still there. But nothing comes. No, hey, I'm thinking of you. No, can we talk? No, sorry, I've been distant. Just silence. That silence is deafening. And here's the hard truth. When avoidants shut down all communication, it's not because they're confused or lost. It's because they have made a decision inside themselves that they don't want to be in this with you anymore. Think about what shutting down really means. It's not just a pause. It's an emotional barricade. They're not just ignoring you. They're protecting themselves from vulnerability, from confrontation, from connection. Avoidants are wired to retreat when things get too real or too messy. But once that retreat turns into complete shutdown, it's no longer about self-protection. It's about ending the relationship on their terms without having to say goodbye. You might find yourself in this place of endless wondering. Are they mad? Did I do something wrong? Is there still a chance? But the brutal truth is, you're searching for answers where there won't be any because they've chosen silence over conversation. They've chosen to disappear rather than explain. And that's the problem. Not you, not what you did, but their inability to face what's difficult. Now, maybe you're telling yourself, well, maybe they're just overwhelmed. Maybe they need time. And yes, sometimes people do need space. But space looks different from shutting down all communication. Space means, I need a moment, but I'll get back to you. Shutting down means, I'm done and I don't want to come back. If they wanted space, they would say so. If they wanted to reconnect, they'd find a way to reach out, even if it's awkward or hard. But when avoidance shut down completely, that's a closed chapter. Here's where it gets real. You cannot make someone stay. You cannot force a connection that no longer exists. And here's the kicker. Trying to break through that wall only pushes them further away. The more you push, the more they pull back, because avoidants don't respond well to pressure or confrontation. So what feels like love, like persistence, ends up feeling like a threat to them. You deserve clarity, not confusion. You deserve someone who can tell you what's going on, who can handle the hard conversations, even when it's uncomfortable. Avoidants who shut down all communication are choosing avoidance over honesty, distance over intimacy. And you don't have to accept that. It's time to stop waiting for a person who's stopped showing up. It's time to stop holding on to hope when the evidence is right in front of you. That silence, that's your answer. That's the sign you need to stop investing your time and your heart in someone who's already walked away. You might feel scared to let go. You might worry you'll never find that connection again. But here's the truth. When one door closes, another one opens, and the right person will show up without shutting you out, without ghosting you, without making you question your worth. So today, hear me loud and clear. If they're shutting down all communication, it's not a maybe, it's a no. It's not, I'll be back. It's, I'm gone. Don't wait around in the dark hoping for light that will never come. Choose yourself. Choose your peace. Choose someone who fights for you, not someone who disappears when things get tough. That silence, don't let it fool you. It's the loudest goodbye you'll ever get. And it's your cue to move forward, stronger, wiser, and ready to claim the love you deserve. Let me be crystal clear about this because it's something so many people miss. And it costs them their peace and their self-respect. When an avoidant person has made peace with walking away, they do not come back. This isn't about indecision or playing hard to get. It's a definitive, quiet, and powerful choice inside them. Once they've checked out emotionally, once they've decided they're done, the chance of them returning is slim to none. Why? Because avoidants operate differently than most people expect. They don't tend to leave a trail of breadcrumbs or send cryptic messages about, maybe we can try again someday. No. Avoidants tend to disappear or retreat fully. And that retreat, it's a form of closure for them. They don't do messy goodbyes or long explanations. Their way of coping with emotional discomfort is to remove themselves completely. So when they decide they're done, it's not a temporary pause, it's a full stop. Think about what that means for you. You might be stuck in the what if zone, hoping that they'll come back around once the dust settles or once they've figured things out. But here's the truth. If they wanted to come back, they would find a way to make contact. They don't have to send you a novel or make a grand gesture. Even a simple message, "I'm sorry, I'm ready to talk," would mean something. But the silence, the absence of effort, that's their way of saying they're not coming back. It's painful to admit this because hope feels like a lifeline. Hope tells you that maybe, just maybe, they're wrestling with their feelings and will come back when they're ready. But that hope can keep you stuck in a loop of waiting, overthinking, and questioning your worth. It keeps you trapped in uncertainty instead of setting you free to move on. Avoidants tend to protect themselves by emotionally disconnecting. When they've made peace with walking away, they've emotionally disengaged in a way that makes coming back almost impossible. It's not just about the relationship. It's about their internal narrative, how they see themselves, how they manage vulnerability, how they handle discomfort. They've decided that the healthiest choice for them is to leave, and they follow through with that decision fully. Here's the important part. This is not a reflection of your value or your worth. It's about their coping mechanism and boundaries. They have limits on how much emotional risk they're willing to take, and when those limits are reached, they pull away for good. It's not about you failing or not being enough. It's about their own emotional architecture. So, what do you do with this? First, accept it. Acceptance doesn't mean you have to like it or agree with it, but you have to acknowledge the reality. Clinging to the idea that they might come back keeps you in emotional limbo. Acceptance gives you permission to let go and reclaim your energy. Next, focus on yourself. This is your chance to heal, to grow, and to build a life that doesn't revolve around waiting for someone else's emotional availability. When you stop hoping for the avoidant to come back, you free yourself to be open to people who will show up consistently, who will communicate clearly, and who won't disappear when things get tough. Remember, the right person doesn't make you question whether they want to be in your life. They don't leave you guessing. They don't disappear without a word. They fight for the connection, even when it's uncomfortable. It's hard to let go of someone who seemed like the perfect fit, but turned out to be emotionally unavailable. But holding on to someone who has made peace with walking away is holding on to pain and uncertainty. And you deserve so much better than that. You deserve someone who chooses you every day, who stays even when it's hard, who faces the discomfort head on rather than running away. You deserve a love that's present, that communicates, that fights for you, not someone who quietly checks out and never looks back. So if you're sitting here hoping that avoidant person will come back after they've made peace with leaving, it's time to rewrite that story. It's time to stop waiting for the impossible and start living for the undeniable truth. They're not coming back. And that's okay, because your comeback, your joy, your peace, that's what really matters. And that's where your power lies. Let's talk about a silent, sneaky sign that so many people miss. When an avoidant person stops sharing even the smallest details of their life with you. It sounds minor, right? Like, who cares if they don't tell you about what happened at work or what they're thinking about that day? But this is not minor. This is huge. Because when someone stops sharing, even the little stuff, they are building a wall between you and them. And that wall, it's a warning sign that the door is closing. You see, connection is built on sharing, not just the big emotional heart on the sleeve moments, but the everyday little moments too. The mundane, the casual, the small talk, because those small details add up. They create a sense of presence and closeness. When someone is invested in you, they want to share their world with you, even if it's just to say, "Hey, I had the weirdest coffee this morning," or "I'm thinking about trying that new restaurant." It's not about the details themselves. It's about the invitation to be part of their life. But when an avoidant person starts to stop sharing all of that, no updates, no stories, no little glimpses into their day, that's not just a sign of disinterest. It's a signal that they are emotionally withdrawing. They are closing off the parts of themselves they used to let you see. And that's scary because it means the distance between you isn't just physical, it's emotional, and it's widening fast. You might think maybe they're just busy. Maybe they don't feel like talking. But here's the truth. Avoidants don't just shut down communication randomly. It's a defense mechanism. They protect themselves by retreating into silence and privacy. And when that silence turns into a pattern, when you notice the absence of sharing day after day, what you're really witnessing is a door slowly closing. They are creating distance so that when they do leave, it won't feel like such a shock to them. They've already mentally and emotionally checked out. Here's where it hits hard. You can't force someone to share what they don't want to share. You can't pull information out of someone who is retreating behind walls. And if you try to force it, you only push them further away because avoidants hate pressure. They don't open up under pressure. They close down. That silence, that refusal to share, it's a way of saying, without saying it, I'm not here anymore. It's not a dramatic exit, but it's an exit nonetheless. And that's why you can't ignore it or brush it off as just a phase. Because the longer it goes on, the clearer the message becomes. The emotional door is closing and they're preparing to walk away. This is the moment where many people make the mistake of doubling down, trying harder, texting more, asking more questions, begging for connection. But let me tell you, that's the exact opposite of what you need to do. When avoidants close off, chasing them only makes them retreat faster. It's like trying to grab water. It slips right through your fingers. Instead, this is your cue to protect your heart, to acknowledge the reality without making excuses for their behavior, to stop waiting for the person who is emotionally checked out to come back and start sharing again. Because if they wanted to, they would. Sharing is a choice, and if they've chosen silence, it means they're not coming back through that door. You deserve someone who invites you into their life, who wants to share their world, who doesn't shut you out piece by piece until there's nothing left. You deserve connection, not silence. You deserve presence, not absence. And that starts with recognizing when the door is closing and choosing to walk away before it slams shut behind you. So if you notice they've stopped sharing, if you feel the distance growing in the small, quiet ways, don't ignore it. Don't rationalize it. Don't wait for them to come back. That's your sign to take a step back, to put your energy into your own life, your own growth, your own happiness. Because the only way forward is away from the silence and into the light of someone who will open the door wide and invite you in fully. Here's the truth that nobody wants to admit out loud. If an avoidant person stops responding to your efforts to fix things, that's your sign. That's your green light to stop. Because no amount of chasing, explaining, or hoping will change what's already been decided. When they stop responding, it means they've made a choice, and it's not the choice to stay. Listen, relationships aren't supposed to be a one-person job. They're a two-way street. And when you're the only one putting in the effort, it's exhausting. It wears down your spirit. It makes you question yourself and your worth. You start thinking, if only I did this differently, or maybe if I say the right thing, they'll come back. But here's the hard reality. If they don't respond, it's not about what you're doing wrong. It's about their unwillingness or inability to engage. Avoidants tend to shut down emotionally when things get tough. It's their way of protecting themselves from vulnerability and discomfort. But when that shutdown extends to ignoring your attempts to reconnect or repair, it's a clear boundary. They're telling you, without words, that they don't want to engage with the conflict or the relationship anymore. And believe me, silence in this context is louder than any argument or explanation. You might feel desperate to break through that silence, to get them to answer just one time so you can feel seen, heard, understood. But that desperation only makes you more vulnerable and powerless. You can't force someone to respond if they don't want to, and trying to will only drain your energy and chip away at your self-respect. Think about it like this. If someone cared enough to want to stay or fix things, they would respond. Even if it's messy, even if it's difficult, even if it's uncomfortable, they would find a way to show up. Avoidants aren't great at confrontation, sure, but when they truly care, they make some kind of effort to communicate. They don't just disappear and leave you hanging. So what do you do when they stop responding? You stop chasing. You stop waiting by the phone. You stop rewriting your texts in your head 100 times. Because the moment you keep reaching out without response, you're giving your power away. You're telling yourself that your happiness depends on someone else's willingness to show up. And that's a trap. Your worth isn't tied to their response. Your value doesn't increase if they finally reply after days or weeks of silence. You deserve someone who meets you halfway, who respects your efforts, and who communicates even when it's hard. You deserve someone who doesn't make you question whether you're enough or whether you're worth their time. Stopping the chase is hard. It's scary. It feels like giving up on something you wanted so badly. But it's also the most liberating choice you can make. It's the moment you take back control of your life and your heart. It's the moment you say, I deserve better than this. I deserve respect. I deserve to be wanted. And here's the beautiful part: when you stop chasing, when you stop putting your energy into someone who won't meet you, you make space for something better. You make space for someone who will show up, who will respond, who will fight for you. Because love that's real doesn't leave you waiting and wondering. It doesn't ignore your attempts to connect. It doesn't ghost you in your hardest moments. So if you're sitting here wondering whether to keep texting, calling, or trying to fix things, stop. Stop right now. Take a deep breath. Recognize that their silence is your answer. And then take the next step forward into your own power, your own worth, and your own freedom. You are enough. You always have been. And the right person will never make you question that.